जिस तरीके से they're presented, it's a different story altogether. उसकी वजह से क्या होता है, they get the opportunity कि 2-3 movies उनको ऐसे ही मिल जाएंगे.
Right.
We don't get
even
that
before
luxury.
even before they're able to necessarily
Exactly.
prove whether they're good or not.
Even before the movie is released.
True.
We don't get that luxury. हमारे साथ क्या होता है, एक्टिंग देखते हैं, ऑडियंस का रिस्पॉन्स देखते हैं, ब्रांड्स का रिस्पॉन्स देखते हैं,
Right.
फिर हम बात करते हैं.
You know, as millennials, you would assume that with the introduction of OTT platforms and the availability of your favorite shows now online, that there might be a stagnation or a decline in the viewership of Indian television. The mindset and thinking comes from a privileged point of view, as majority of India still depends on satellite television for their entertainment. With close to 298 million homes having TV sets as of 2017, the television viewership has actually grown at an average of 12% year on year, according to the India Brand Equity Foundation. I always find myself dismissing the content on Indian television almost irresponsibly, lumping the regressive content of some channels with others, trying their best and innovating with some hints of progression, in contrast to the abundant Saas Bahu drama. My point through this video is not to talk about the quality of content on Indian television, but the sheer volume of viewers and the loyal fan base that the talent develops, being a part of shows that last for so many years. You have to realize that these are actors that have been a part of the daily routine of Indian households for 30 minutes for several years. For many, Siddharth Shukla will forever be Shivraj Shekhar from Balika Vadhu, Jennifer Winget will be Sneha Bajaj from Kasauti Zindagi, and Prachi Desai will be the girl from Kasam Se. These actors have loyal fan followings even before they have transitioned to greener pastures, which made me wonder, why can't a lot of TV actors transition easily to act in Bollywood films, like it happens so often with regards to Hollywood?
But I wanted to do something else also, and that didn't happen because for whatever reasons, you know, because I guess I didn't have a father who could produce a film for me, or there was no godfather who was making films for me. So it's very tough for an outsider कि आप अपनी पहचान out of the limited choices that you have, उससे आप क्या right pick करो और उससे कैसे आगे बढ़ो.
There has been an industry rhetoric that is carried on with regards to television talent, and that has actually hampered many actors from getting a break in the film industry or opportunities snatched away from them. Number one was in regards to overexposure with the masses. This argument would be in reference to the Indian audience only perceiving the actors as the characters they portrayed on television. And number two would be in regards to the restricted range of the actors. Many casting directors back in the day would assume the limited technical ability of the actors, all concluded on the basis that television is a piece of cake. However, when I see the beautiful transitions of actors internationally, be it Will Smith from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air to the empire that he has built currently, Michelle Williams, the girl from Dawson's Creek, to become a Golden Globe award-winning actress, and Steve Carell, from the iconic Michael Scott from The Office to so many memorable movie roles, from Foxcatcher to The Beautiful Boy, I also realize the comparison is an absolute stretch and uncalled for, as the variety of content, the constantly innovating international market, actually compels movie production houses to hire the talent, in contrast to majority of Indian television to be rather forgettable, regressive, and in some ways downright bizarre. The problem is the inability of casting directors and production houses to separate the talent from the otherwise underwhelming content. I came to the conclusion that the Indian market has very rapidly changed, where with no context you would assume that the opportunities are few and far between, there is a sharp divide in work ethic and respect. The argument does not have a straightforward answer. It's important to acknowledge success stories, which I will come to later, but they do not represent the majority, and the reality varies from experiences.
Perception is easier than being creative. So the regular people, the audience, they want to perceive things about the image of the characters that you're playing and limit it to that. They're not creative about what a person can do. And this perception thing is not based only to the audience. It's actually based in our industry also with respect to the people who cast. They want to cast the image that you have already done well in. So that's only being perceptive. That's very far from creativity.
The initial disasters. These are experiences that have happened with popular television actors at the time, where Bollywood had this archaic belief that television actors do not have the capability of consistently performing in films, and that the TV audience is completely different from the one that comes in theatres. That's different that by now, one of the biggest stars of the Hindi film industry was actually a TV actor, but that didn't matter to them. This, mind you, was also the time where TV actors would jump the gun and sign projects that were terrible on paper. Popular faces like Amar Upadhyay signed films like Dhund, The Fog, and was a part of the ensemble cast of LOC. Ijaz Khan signed Mirabai Not Out to be the lead. Barun Sobti signed Main or Mrs. Right. Mohit Raina signed Don Muthuswamy. All of the actors returned to television as the financial failure of these films did not lead to more offers pouring in, and set the archaic perception of casting directors and production houses that they don't fit the bill. Lack of longevity. There are many television actors, however, that have showcased their acting prowess to the masses, yet have experienced a lack of respect in the industry. Rajiv Khandelwal's debut with Aamir is still vivid in everyone's memory. Even after brilliant performances in films like Shaitan and Table Number 21, the consistency of roles kept on drying up, and we saw the actor almost drift from the limelight, despite the initial impressive performances. In this same case, I also think of Amna Sharif, an actor who went through initial failures in her Bollywood career, but was absolutely spectacular as a toxic and emotionally abusive wife in Ek Villain. Suddenly, we did not see the actor feature in more films after such an impactful performance. Siddharth Shukla is another great example, who on paper had an absolutely brilliant debut with Humpty Sharma Ki Dulhania. He puts forth a sincere and commanding performance with actors who are considered to be stars, yet either due to the quality of the work being offered to him after this, Shukla is another individual that stuck to the Indian television and reality show format for subsistence and growth. Gauhar Khan, another actor who has consistently given praiseworthy performances in supporting roles, still is looking for that big break that compels people to take her seriously as a lead. The most baffling example I find is regarding Prachi Desai, a capable performer who impressed in films like Rock On and Once Upon a Time in Mumbai, but as the years went by, just kept on featuring in rather underwhelming roles, quite contrary to the capability of the actor, who honestly just deserves way more. The right role. The important point is that for many television actors to take the plunge and feature in Bollywood movies is extremely risky, and therefore they wait for the right role to come to them. These are actors that are assured a salary in a consistently running show, and to take the risk of Bollywood, where uncertainty is paramount, it is a big leap of faith. To deny that there is no sense of prejudice in Bollywood regarding the television industry would be extremely naive. A prime example of this sense of pompousness or elitism is when Hina Khan had the opportunity to walk the red carpet at Cannes, and the editor-in-chief of Filmfare mockingly stated that Khan had become Chandiwali Studios, a prime example of the perception the elite have of the TV industry.
It was disheartening. I did feel bad, I won't deny. I did feel really bad that it was not necessary. It was not required. You know, I felt bad, not just for myself that I put in a lot of effort, for the person as well.
When you hear other examples that Ankita Lokhande as well tried to transition in Bollywood and was actually considered for the role of Happy New Year, which would have been a massive debut for her but was replaced, or even the case of Drishti Dhami, who was considered for the role of Singham Returns, but it did not materialize.
कि हमारा इतना prejudice रहता है टीवी एक्टर्स को लेके, मैं खुद उस दौर से गुजरा हूँ. हम लोग एक सेट मेंटालिटी होती है हमारी टीवी एक्टर्स को लेके, जो कि नहीं होनी चाहिए मेरे ख्याल से. एक्टर इज एन एक्टर, चाहे इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ द मीडियम. तो उनका टीवी में रहना और उसके बाद उनको उस पर्टिकुलर कैरेक्टर के लिए इतनी बड़ी फिल्म में कंसिडर करना, ये बहुत बड़ी बात है.
Considering all of this negativity, it's important to acknowledge the success stories and the bright side of today. Actors like Ayushmann Khurrana, Amit Saad, and Sushant Singh Rajput are brilliant examples of success stories from humble beginnings, but this is still not to say that they have it easier than others. All three actors have gone through the ebbs and flows of massive success and failures only to persevere to achieve stardom. I also have to say that the advent of OTT platforms has actually given the opportunity to very capable actors like Jennifer Winget as well, who I was thoroughly impressed with in Code M. And she is a talent that deserves more exposure. The web series format and the constantly changing landscape of movies has actually led to the rise of actors we never could imagine 10 years ago. Barun Sobti and Riddhi Dogra with Asur, Sanjeeda Sheikh only recently with films like Tesh and Kali Khui. This age is also the time where the actresses from television have had such a lasting impact with the masses. Success stories like Mrunal Thakur, Moni Roy, Yami Gautam and Radhika Madan are prime examples of the fact that we are headed for change. Bear in mind that their path is extremely murky and full of obstacles compared to the star children. These are actors that still have to beg for auditions and prove themselves in a landscape where actors completely deny to even do a screen test.
उनको बातों में हो जाता है यार. वो हमारा ये होता है कि हमारा ऑडिशन ले लो, वो बोलते हैं hey, listen, I was thinking you're making this film, let's do this, no? And they're like, let's do it, babe.
Right.
While the system in itself is not perfect, like any freelance working system, it is important to acknowledge that it has been years of television actors trying to change the perception of the production houses and casting directors regarding what television represents. Even after making a mark as actors in the industry, they still have to work tooth and nail to change that antiquated belief. All I can say is that I wish for more success stories like Mrunal Thakur and Radhika Madan, where the talent and range of these actors is unquestionable.
आपको झूठ बोला कि आप आउटसाइडर नहीं है. जो भी आपको आउटसाइडर बोलता है मेरे पास भेजो. लेकिन अगर आप खुद को आउटसाइडर बोल रहे हो तो मैं आपका कुछ नहीं कर सकता. हम सब इनसाइडर हैं. हम सब हैं. ये देश सबका है. This has immense and lots of opportunity for all of us. And nobody is an outsider.